We're going to continue looking at how we can control these child items, more specifically, how they grow and shrink to the available space. So to begin, I'm going to go down and reduce our demonstration to be 4 products. And we can also remove this order class, then also the corresponding CSS just above. Okay, good. So to do this, we can use a property called FlexGrow and also FlexShrink. Let's begin by taking a look at FlexGrow. This will determine how an item can grow along the main axis. At the moment, the item size is controlled by the amount of content in the middle and also any padding. So currently they don't take up the full width of the screen, which we can see over in the browser. If we go ahead and add FlexGrow to one of these items as an inline style, of course it doesn't have to be inline, it can also be included in the CSS too. So let's add the FlexGrow and set this to a value of 1. Save. And now our first item takes up a lot more space than the remaining 3. So basically these 3 items here, number 2, 3 and 4, will always stay the same size depending on the content inside, and then the one with FlexGrow will take up the additional space. If we do the same for item 2, if we copy this FlexGrow, and then let's see what this does. Okay, so items 3 and 4 both still take up the same space that always have done. Then the remaining space is shared equally between items 1 and 2, because both have an equal FlexGrow value of 1. If we go ahead and add this to all the items, so item 3 and item 4 too, we now see that all 4 items share the same amount of space. This FlexGrow value of 1 is not any particular unit of measurement, such as a pixel or an em. It is significant though when compared to the rest of these values. The difference happens when they are not all the same. If we make item 3 a FlexGrow value of 2, over to the browser, and now item 3 will try to take up twice the amount of space as the rest, if it's available. Now let's change this to be 3, and now it should be even wider. While this FlexGrow property deals with how items will grow across this main axis, if the space is available, we also have FlexShrink too. This deals with how items should shrink if there is not enough space for them to fit. First, let's remove the wrap by commenting out the flex flow, which is this line here. So command and / if using Visual Studio Code. Then we can add a fixed width of 600 pixels for the container. So let's add this down at the bottom. The width of 600 pixels. Then we can make sure these items don't fit in this container by setting them to be a width, and let's say 160 pixels. So we could do it like this and set the width of the item to be 160 pixels. This is one way to do it, or we could use a new Flexbox property, which is called FlexBasis. So let's change this to be FlexBasis, and still 160 pixels. So this FlexBasis defines the default size of an element before any remaining space is distributed. Here, the 4 items are too wide to fit into the container, so this is where FlexShrink comes in. FlexShrink will determine which items will shrink to fit the available space. So let's go down and change FlexGrow to be FlexShrink this time, and change this for all 4 items. And let's set the last 2 to be a value of 2. And then refresh. We now see that items 3 and 4 have shrunk, since they're a higher value compared to items 1 and 2. If we go over and increase one of these items to be 3 instead, this will cause the item to shrink the most when there is not enough space for them all to fit in a container. In this video, we have looked at FlexGrow, FlexShrink, and FlexBasis. These 3 properties can be combined into the Flex shorthand, like this. So up to the item, we can comment out this flex basis and then replace it with flex. So if we were to add 0, 1, and then auto, these are the default settings. 0 to begin with is for flex grow, 1 is for flex shrink, and then auto is for the flex basis, which we added just above here. If we're to save that and then see how this looks over in the browser, this is how it would look with the defaults. We have this fixed width of 600 pixels for the container, and then our 4 equal items because they're all set to the value of 0. And we can play around with these values just like before too. For example, if we were to set all items to have a flex grow value of 1, so 1 and 1, and then over to the browser, they will each now take up the available space equally in the container. This flex property is a lot easier and cleaner than writing out these 3 properties separately. We are now done with looking at how items grow and shrink. Next up, we'll finish off looking at the flex box by learning about align self.